Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, at whatever time you're watching Business Matters. We're on YouTube. We release our new videos every Friday at 3 p.m. You can catch us on WWDBTV on Roku. And today our sponsor is See Us Now Staffing. So a big shout out to See Us Now Staffing. Thank you so much for putting this on and allowing us to bring people from the community to share their story. And so today we're going to learn more about Melvin Valentine Jr. He has a Valentine consulting firm, and so we're going to get to hear something about him, and then you're going to share first of where you come from. So welcome to our show. Tell us about how did you get here to Vegas?
Well, thank you so much for bringing me to your show. I love the setup. I feel super important right now. So shout outs to you.
It's all about you,
There you
remember?
go.
It's all about you.
Well, I was born and raised in Southern California. I was born in Compton, California. I went to high school in Riverside, California, and I graduated college at Cal State San Bernardino. So, it was a life-changing experience for myself. I was able to meet my wife in college. I met her. We both had a vision for a consulting firm.
Okay.
And what we wanted to do was we learned so many things in our discipline, which was communications. I had a human communications degree, and she has a public relations degree. So in that, we really start talking about, hey, well, instead of taking our talents to corporate America, where that's the traditional pathway with a lot of our degrees, right? We decided to really focus on developing a consulting company that would work in the public sector, because we felt that there was a lot of communication gaps when it comes to public sector projects, and there were struggles and challenges in getting all the various stakeholders in an initiative, in a project, and making sure that everybody was on the same page, where they were able to have a common vision and a common goal and a common objective, right? So we felt what we were learning in class was going to be able to help us bridge those cultural gaps, those communication gaps, and those perspective gaps that happen so much in the public sector.
Now, what brought you to Las Vegas, though? So you're from California
Yes.
then, and we both graduated from Cal State San Bernardino.
Yes.
So you can't come from the San Bernardino area, right?
Yes.
Inland Empire.
Yes. Well, I grew up in the urban community my whole life. There were some challenges that my family unfortunately faced early on, and I at 18 took sole custody of my 4 little sisters. So I was raising a 4-year-old, 6-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 14-year-old. But my family was able to kind of get it together. My dad really stepped up to the plate, and we had my aunt lived in Vegas. So he was able to relocate here in Las Vegas and really start the family over, and got back together with my mother and all that. So later on, about, probably like 10 years later, I decided to relocate to be closer to the family. They were, the girls were getting older, and then there was way more opportunities here in Vegas than the Inland Empire for my degree, at least, right? So I just thought that it was the appropriate time to kind of transition and take advantage of all the new growth and opportunity that was happening in Vegas. And that was, I relocated here in 2012. So that was right around the time where Vegas was recovering from
the market crash.
The market crash, right? So I said, okay, this is the perfect time to kind of start anew and start that journey.
Great. And so where right now is your office at, or are you working from your home? Are you working virtually? Where are you working from?
So we just, one of our first contracts were with the city of North Las Vegas, and we're working on the Choice Neighborhood Initiative. And we're working on that project all the way from 2015 to 2023. And the pinnacle of that work was really executing a partnership and bringing a $2 million STEM Center facility to Nevada Partners. Shout outs to Nevada Partners, right? They've done great work in the community for over 30 years, right? And that $2 million STEM Center was part of that Choice Neighborhood Initiative. So I had the opportunity to transition to Nevada Partners and support in managing that actual STEM Center. With that being said, then our goals and our priorities shifted towards expanding that Future of Work initiative to the broader valley, right? So then we start working with the city of Las Vegas on that initiative. So I say all that to say we recently just changed our location for our office. For so long, we were in North Las Vegas because that
Okay.
was that primary project.
Mm-hmm.
And now our attention and focus has shifted to the historic West Side, right? So now we just inked a deal with the city of Las Vegas where our office will be located in the Innovation Center downtown,
Okay. Yeah.
right? So I
Downtown.
think that's a great place, great networking opportunities. We really want to fully immerse ourselves into the downtown community, that ecosystem, especially around technology. So we felt strategically working from that location is the best bang for our buck and really to expand the reach of the project and scope.
Your type of business right now is actually doing very well, right?
Oh yes,
On what you guys do. Yeah.
yes. It's
Hmm.
very. We really pride ourselves on not quality over quantity. So we really
Hmm.
want to take quality strategic projects. We keep it lean and mean. It's just
Hmm.
me, my wife, and a couple others if we feel necessary to kind of expand our reach. But we try to really keep it to a minimal because we have a very strategic vision that we really want to take this community to around technology, all right, around community engagement, bringing all the different various communities together. So we're just very strategic on who and how we work. And the next journey and the next chapter of our company and organization would be in the historic West Side and making sure that that revitalization effort takes off.
Are you guys planning on doing any type of projects on the east side of town? Because I find that that's where I'm from.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
on the east side, and I find that there's really not a whole lot of dollars that go in there, and it could be because it's a county pocket,
yes.
right? Anything that you're working on in the near future on the east side?
Well, we have some initiatives that potentially could expand our scope and our reach to the east side.
I
I've
hope so.
I've I've lived on the east side before.
Hmm.
When I first got here, my parents actually were living on the east side, right?
Hmm.
So I'm familiar with the community. I think that, like you said, that's a great point. That there's some pockets of the east side that are county, right, which somewhat complicates the issue a lot of
Yeah.
times, right? It's different funding sources,
Hmm.
but this new initiative that we're talking about, centered around the future of work, is going to have a more of a regional scope, a regional perspective. Right, we're in early stage discussions of expanding that those partners so we can have that more regional approach to the work that we're doing. Right,
Hmm.
because Vegas is 65% of our jobs can be automated. Right, we're like number one in the nation, so that has profound political implications for our nation, that we're ground zero for the future of work, right? What does the
Hmm.
future of work actually look like?
Yeah.
I'm speaking completely selfishly, right?
Hmm.
Because I'm a futurist and I've, you know, for the last 15 years have completely fully immersed myself around technology and how that in the political and economic implications of the technology and how it's going to disrupt our lives,
Oh yeah.
right? So I'm excited. And I
Hmm.
say that humbly because I understand the issues and I understand the
Hmm.
opportunities. And I'm excited about the possibility of getting more people to understand those issues, right? Understanding those priorities. So we can now, as a community, really begin to advocate for a vision for our community, which will set the stage, I really genuinely believe, for humanity, right? Because if we're
Hmm.
leading the charge in automation, then we have an opportunity to create a national model here that's inclusive, that's diverse, that leverages technology in a way that everybody can gain and benefit from.
Are you working at all then very closely with the schools, with the school district?
Yes, of course. So a
Hmm.
little background. So when we took on the contract of the city of with the city of North Las Vegas, one of the strategic decisions that my wife and I also made was for me to take on a role as a teacher at Mojave High School, which I
Okay.
became the department chair for career technical education at Mojave High School. Now, mind you, in 2015, we were working on an initiative with the Village Foundation. Shout outs to Dr. Linda Young. She served our community in the role as a school board trustee for years. She's just been an advocate in the urban community. She's a legend out here when it comes to that type of work. So her and Dr. Robert Green was the former education director for Martin Luther King Jr.
Mm.
So imagine when you're coming up the ranks and you get to sit at a table with that type of
Oh,
mentorship,
yeah.
right? And that type of
Mhm.
leadership,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So my wife and I, we were just a sponge soaking up everything.
Mhm.
And at that table in 2015, the focus was they're making prisons off of third grade test scores, right? So we need to do something about that, right? We need
Mhm.
more Black males in education in general, right? To disrupt that school to prison pipeline, right?
Definitely. Yes.
Then on top of that, there was discussions about STEM. That STEM is coming, STEM.
Mhm.
And I'm like, at that time, I'm like, what is STEM? I'm not even right. So then I start studying and researching the issue, science, technology, engineering,
Mhm.
mathematics, which was stuff that I was already passionate about. So, but I said, okay, let's approach this now from an educational lens, right? So I kind of, you know, took their guidance and their mentorship seriously, and I fully immersed myself in the educational system out here. I really took ownership, extreme ownership, regarding urban education and STEM education. I got certified as a Verizon innovative learning teacher. Right, went through all that training
Mhm.
and really set out to deploy the latest technology in the learning environment, and then also understanding the sides, just the machine of education, right? And understanding everybody's perspective, from administrations,
Mhm.
right? From their perspective, from the teacher's perspective, from the guidance counselor's office perspective, from the students themselves, all the different diverse stakeholders. It was a life-changing experience. It was one of the best career decisions I've ever made. I'm able to now sit at the table in so many strategic initiatives with a unique perspective, right? Because we're not going to be able to build the future of the community the way that everybody truly wants without us understanding the issues of education and bringing those perspectives and insights to the table, so we can begin to be innovative and think outside the box. So that was one of the greatest decisions I've made, was to take on that challenge. And I was there for 6 years, crushed it. Students were super engaged, and a lot of those graduating students followed me over to the STEM Center.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I know. I've been in the workforce, in staffing for the last 18 years
Okay,
here
perfect.
in Vegas.
Okay, so I
Okay.
need your perspective at the
Yes.
table. I'm working for
So,
you.
15 years ago,
Okay.
I started questioning myself. I'm like, what the heck is this? What are we doing with our kids? Because as they were coming in to apply at 18, it was like I owed them something. And I'm like, where is this coming from? So it was a mentality shift that happened, that it was like, I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
Type of thing. The mentality really changed. So I had started Nevada Hispanic Business Group. I'm one of the
Okay.
co-founders in
Okay.
2015 with Joe Hernandez. And I said, we got to start a youth program,
Mm.
because I've got to help turn some of these kids around, because they're shifting in an opposite direction that we really need them for the workforce.
Oh, yeah.
And even with COVID just really messed us up, because mentally people thought, well, okay, I can make $18 an hour. It doesn't matter what minimum wage is. I can make $18 an hour, but I did nothing during COVID to even improve myself. I'm still that $9 person. And so then when minimum wage going up, it's really impacted the small business community in the regular type of sector. I'm not talking about AI. I'm not talking about technology sector, right? A big shift that happened, because now as a small business owner, it's very difficult for us to grow our teams at a good wage, because then in all reality the team has to be smaller, because we can't afford it,
Yeah.
because if not we have to increase our prices,
Yeah.
right? So with minimum wage being right now at the $12 mark, right? And I don't hire minimum wage people.
Yeah.
Okay, my jobs always are above. So mine right now, the lowest is $15. I will not send anyone to work. I won't even sit down and put a contract together if they're not at least $15 and above, right? But we have to go to commercial. We're going to come right back, and I want to continue that conversation about workforce, of where we're at. And I love that we met at Nevada Partners, right? So I think that we have a lot in common. We both serve basically the East, the north side of towns are lower income communities, because that's what I'm
Yes,
about. We're
yes, yes.
from the same area in
Exactly.
California. Okay?
Okay.
I grew up in the project, so I know exactly what
Okay,
it's
all right.
like coming in from the ghetto and then working my way up.
There you
We'll be
go.
right back after this commercial. Introducing See Us Now Staffing, led by yours truly, Laura Nowlin. As the founder and president, I bring over 17 years of expertise in sourcing for talent, building winning teams of professionals, marketing, and workforce development. At See Us Now Staffing, we're not just a staffing agency. We're your strategic partner in building a winning team of professionals for your business. My passion for community service extends to connecting entrepreneurs with local resources. Recognized by the Small Business Administration as the 2022 Nevada Family-Owned Business of the Year, we're not just changing the workforce landscape, we're defining it.
Hi folks, this is Matt Jackson Jr. from Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I want to invite you and your family, your friends, and everyone to join us here on WWDBTV, where we have a plethora of shows and interesting information that you could use today. We'll see you then, folks. Have a good one.
Well, thank you for sticking with us, okay? Joining us back at Business Matters, and I have Melvin Valentine here, and with his Valentine consulting firm, and we were talking about workforce, right?
Yes.
And we're saying that the minimum wage went up from, what it was before now to $12 an hour. I don't place anybody out to work that at least the person is getting paid $15 and above,
Yes.
okay?
All right.
But I can tell you that a big shift has happened where layoffs are now here. They're here. They've been here.
Yep.
I started seeing a big shift in April where large companies, and that's who I deal with, corporations, they couldn't pay their bills anymore. And they themselves were doing layoffs, which then causes a domino effect where then I have to now lay off, right? Because that cookie that we were making for $1,
Yep.
right? We're now having to make the same cookie, but now it's costing us more. So now we're selling that cookie for $5
Yeah.
instead of $1,
Yeah.
right? So we think that we're really helping people by increasing the wages,
Yeah.
when in all reality, we actually hurt them, because now we push everything up and we're basically pushing ourselves into a recession, a true crash and burn type of thing. So that's where I'm seeing it. And from the businesses that I work with, I can tell you that if I wouldn't have landed a government contract as a sub, I would have already crashed and burned. And so I noticed that your business, you're dealing with a lot of government contracts.
Yeah.
So then your funding is not going to stop. Let me tell you out there, small business owner, if you can get a government contract, even just one, it's going to keep you going, because that's what's keeping me going. Right.
Yeah.
And the companies right now that are dealing with government contract, whether they're a sub, a prime, they're still alive and they're flourishing or staying at least afloat. All the other ones that are dealing with the large corporations right now are hurting. Yeah. So your perspective, of education, I believe that the person is not well educated anymore. I don't have an end product, a good end product to go place out to work like I did before.
Yes.
But I can tell you right now, the resumes that are getting to my desk, they're top notch. These people are struggling to find work, but I don't have work to place them.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing on your end?
I'm seeing something similar, right?
Okay.
I strongly believe that we are in a watershed moment, especially when it comes to our economy, due to a wide range of different. I mean, you laid a lot on the table. So let's address the mindset, right? Let's even address the mindset of, like you said, the students that are graduating, right? Well, one thing is, this is a generation that their minds have been completely conditioned by social media and technology, which, as a communication major, communication was my major. We used to talk about the social implications of social media and new media technologies back in 2004, 2005, and to kind of see some of those trends take place. I truly believe that, 30, 40 years from now, we're going to sit back and say, that's remarkable that we let, so many young children at such a vulnerable time in their brain development, fully immerse themselves in
Technology.
in media technologies, right?
Yeah.
Because it's literally reshaping their minds
Oh,
and
yeah.
and the brain chemistry and their perspective of life, right? So I think that has a profound impact, right? And then I just think too that, the sense of entitlement that, we all have as Americans, right? And I try to start my classes off with, images from the third world, videos from the third world. There's a great video on YouTube that shows what third world students, we're talking like K through 5, go through just to get to school. We're talking 2-hour
Like
journeys. Yeah, 2-hour journeys through, all types of environmental conditions and different things. And, it's crazy just to get to class. This is before they even start learning,
even
right?
Mexico. Even Mexico.
Right.
We're still there.
Yeah, right. So, and I do that as a reset to try to get our students to understand that this is who you're competing against in this new global economy. These are the new young and hungries that in a global economy you're competing with, right? So, unfortunately, that mindset or that perspective or that sense of entitlement comes along with success. You can see it in every level of society, right? That, there's a great book called, I believe it's called The Fourth Turning, and it talks about, looking at history from a cyclical standpoint. So it talks about, the concept is kind of like weak men create bad times, and bad times create strong men, and strong men create good times, and good times create weak men, and it's just
a cycle here.
Yeah.
Break the dark cycle, right?
It literally is just a cycle.
Yes.
So it kind of gives you this different perspective on, hey, we've been here before in human history, right? So we're kind of going through one of those cycles as we speak. And typically empires or nations or countries that have that, we've been having a good time here in America since World War II, right? Like, and now that's being challenged on a global level, right? We're no longer, you can't just say we just have a cushy position as, the global leader, right? We have other countries that are vying for that spot. We actually have real competition for the first time since World War II. And those realities are coming to play upon our whole political economy, right? So, I'm with you in this fight to kind of sound the alarm and kind of wake up a generation to understand some fundamentals that have been lost in translation, right? And understand some basic principles that can serve them well as far as mindset and attitudes and how they approach life in general, right? And that reset needs to occur.
And I think it also starts with us as adults, where we have to be able to have a conversation and agree to disagree.
Oh, yes.
And I think that you saw a big shift of just politics and just everybody just being nasty to each other. It's like, come on, we're the adults in the house.
Yes.
And they're looking up to us, right? So we have to be able to sit with different people that believe different beliefs and still come back and find a common ground, as we have a problem with education.
Well, and exactly. And I'm real passionate about that. I try to be a bridge between these different worlds. How do we bring all these different stakeholders to the table? Because the reality and the way I approach it is to try to get as many people to think globally as possible. Right. And sometimes that's a stretch for folks. But even when I deal with the Las Vegas community, well, minimally, let's think nationally. Right. Because as you mentioned, on a national level, we're competing against other states for those big corporations to come here and do business.
Yes. And we want them to come to Vegas.
And we want them to come
Nevada.
to Vegas, right?
Yes.
So in order for us to be able to remain competitive on that level, right, we as the locals, no matter whether we're conservatives, liberals, wherever we fall on the political spectrum, ultimately we have a common goal and a common objective, which we want our community to prosper and flourish.
Absolutely.
And the more we start the conversation from that standpoint, understanding that we're competing against other states, right? And then to take it one step further, we're an international city.
Oh yeah.
So it shouldn't be such a leap for Vegas to think internationally.
Absolutely.
Right? Because
Yes,
that's in our
yes.
DNA.
That was
right?
easy for me to think that way. Yeah.
Right? That's in our DNA, right? So if we keep the conversation and that North Star thinking, hey, we're competing on an international level, we're competing on a national level, and we're on the same team here,
Mm-hmm.
right? And our local issues, right? But let's keep the conversation and keep the vision focused on how do we stay competitive on a national, international level. I mean, you would think that would be obvious, but a lot of times in these meetings, that has to be reiterated, right? Because that kind of brings people around, their common goals and their common objectives, right? No matter who you are, if you live in this region, you're united on the fact that you're just in this region and you want this region to be successful because you live here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that
Yes,
alone in
yes.
itself can create a common goal, common
Mhm.
ground, so we can
Mhm.
do something productive at the table.
Definitely. I knew my time was just going to fly with you. I could talk to you for hours. So we have about 4 minutes left.
Okay.
Tell us more about your consulting firm. What type of clients are you trying to attract out there? How can we help you?
Oh, great question.
Yeah.
Right now, to be honest, I mean, we're kind of, swamped as far as clients go, right?
That's a good thing. So then maybe you can put some talent out to work
Yes,
and
yes,
continue
right.
growing,
So,
right?
there
Okay.
you go, right?
Yes.
So, our company's Valentine Communications, right?
Mhm.
You can go to valentinecommunications.com to get more information about us. You can call the number area code 702-472-3306 to reach me directly. We're working on an initiative with the city of Las Vegas on the historic West Side for the Jackson. The Jackson Street Initiative is the former Black Las Vegas Strip. During segregated days here in Vegas, it
Mhm.
was a place where it was just a great story of individuals that pulled themselves up by the bootstraps and built something of their own that they were proud of and was successful in different talent that used to come out here that had to stay in the historic West Side would live, work, and play on Jackson Ave. And right now we're in a process of redeveloping Jackson. The city received a $1.7 million EDA grant to
Good.
do some feasibility studies on what can Jackson actually be in the
Mhm.
future.
Mhm.
And I got the honor and privilege to manage that project. Right, so that project is we've been doing that for about 5 months. It's a 2.5-year project, so we really expect to make some tremendous impact with that project.
And so are you looking for volunteers, or are you looking for more talented people that maybe share the same common goals that you have that you can use?
Yes, exactly. And and with that project and that expansion, we were always looking for more community stakeholders and people that are pro Vegas, that want to see Vegas
Mhm.
win. And we're always looking for those partners, those strategic partners that can come to the table and help us with this new vision that we're casting here in the historic West Side. Technically speaking, historic West Side is part of downtown Las Vegas, so it's a great
yeah.
opportunity for us to expand those partnerships and those relationships so we can serve the broader community.
Are you looking to hire any talent out there right now?
Not at this very moment, but we
Mhm.
have a couple other RFPs that we're feeling real confident about that
Good.
we would be looking for more support.
Mhm.
So, you know, I would always say people reach out, and so we can kind of have you on our radar. So at that appointed time, we'll be able to execute.
Yeah. Do you do internships?
Yes, we have a
That's always an
illustrious history of some internships with our community youth. So we're always looking for opportunities to expand our internship program.
Oh, awesome. And anything else that you want to say in closing?
I just think that, like I said, Vegas, we have a great opportunity. The fun economy is here. If you don't know about the fun economy, UNLV, they're advocates for the fun economy. We're talking sports, entertainment, and tourism. When you combine all three of those together, you're talking 14% of the global market, right? So we have a very strategic place in the international economy, and we need to leverage that and expand that so we can diversify the economy. I know the governor's always fighting for that diversity,
Mhm.
and I think we're in a strategic position to make that happen. So if it was any other time to bet on Vegas, the time is now.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on my show, Melvin. I appreciate your time. I really do. Valentine Consulting Firm. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
And so a big shout out to See Us Now Staffing, our sponsor today. And hopefully you catch us on the next show with Business Matters. We'll see you the next time.